Let me take you to eNCA's Siphamandla Goge on that provincial conference of the ANC in Mpumalanga. It's taking place in eMalahleni. So, Siphamandla, the election of the top leadership of the province, in as far as the ANC is concerned, is done and dusted. But the conference itself continues, and I believe the processes and reflections have started in earnest, including by some national leaders, what the implications are of the outcome of that provincial conference for the broader ANC, building up to its elective conference in December.
Indeed, before I answer that question, Tulasizo, let me tell you that I've just spotted Lindiwe Nchali, the newly elected deputy provincial secretary of the ANC in Mpumalanga. I'll have to start with her so that I can release her to go back inside. But inside, a nomination process is underway for additional members of the provincial executive committee of the ANC. Thank you very much for your time, Sis Lindiwe. Talk to us about what is happening now, the process. Yes, the officials have been voted for, elected. Now PEC nominations. How long do you anticipate the process to take?
The process now, the election agency has just opened and confirmed the nominations from the wards, and now they've opened for the floor nomination. We've got about 52 names, inclusive of those from the branches, but now currently they are concluding on that matter, and then election agency is going to print the ballot and members are going to be sent to their commission so that we come up with a 4-year program of action so that this newly elected PEC can have a 4-year program so that we are really living up to what the branches expected of us, and then from there we'll take them from commissions to go and vote, and then we'll adjourn, I think, around midnight. Tomorrow morning we pronounce the additional members, and then we continue with the reporting back to plenary. The newly elected chairperson of Mpumalanga province will have the acceptance speech, and then the president will close the conference.
How do you deal with the issue of your delegates here now that voting for the officials is done, they've been elected? ANC conferences, some of them have a tendency whereby delegates will just leave. The most important and crucial part now is the commissions to deal with socio-economic issues and policy issues that affect the people of Mpumalanga.
You can see from the plenary, all our delegates, almost 700, they are still here. It's just those few that have left, but most of them are still here because they know exactly that we must develop a program of action. We must go to commissions and have resolution that will make sure that it champions and assist our communities in terms of what we stood for as ANC.
Unity and renewal, but it's very interesting that the ANC is trying to do away with slate politics, but today your slate clean sweep here. You took everything. It was a clean sweep. Surely that does not augur well for the unity process and position of the ANC. Not to say it's wrong, but slate politics is back in Mpumalanga based on this provincial conference.
Maybe let's correct it and not call it slate politics. But we're saying branches are allowed to lobby and be lobbied, and branches have lobby groups, and those lobby groups have lobby each other, and this is as a result of those lobby groups. It's not slate. And one conference elect leadership, those lobby groups, they must dissolve so that we don't have those permanent factions.
Are you hopeful and adamant that this process, this provincial conference, will not be challenged in court in the near future? Those who took you to court on Friday are adamant that this is not over. They may go back to court. Are you not worried that this may be challenged in future?
The problem is that you cannot lead by force, that court will take decisions. You are elected from your own branches, and we're saying those comrades, let them come back to the province, back to their structures, and if they are really indeed leadership and also people believe in them, they will be elected. And we're saying, please, comrades, Pumane Makot, you don't have the necessary branches to support you in that.
Some of your fellow leaders here, they have pronounced on Cyril Ramaphosa getting a second term. What is your view? I know that process is up to the structures of the ANC. Do you think Cyril Ramaphosa should get a second term? You've been reportedly, or you've been said to have been an ally or to be the ally of Ace Magashule, the RET forces.
You see, in the ANC, everybody has a right to associate and everybody has a right for a choice. And here we're in Mpumalanga province. Comrade Cyril Ramaphosa is not contesting here, and the allies of your RNCs or whoever is not contesting here. Here were branches of the ANC. When that time comes, in terms of your July, when we start nomination, you shall hear the delegation that will be leading from Mpumalanga pronouncing themselves. Those that has prematurely pronounced themselves, it was not the structure, it's decision of structures or any branches. Here is the highest decision-making body of the conference, of the ANC in the province, which is conference, and we're not going to pronounce anything because that time is not yet opened.
Why do they call you Kabadia?
The comrades, they call me Kapadia, and I feel sometimes it's more like gangster like name, but they are saying I have been firm in what I believe in, and if it's the principle and policies of the movement, I will make sure that it's implemented. I will raise my issues objectively as I believe in them.
Thank you very much for your time. That is Lindy Nchali, the Deputy Provincial Secretary of the ANC, as the nomination process is underway behind me at the plenary there, the main hall. So basically we expect that after this they will break for commissions, and then tomorrow morning those results will be announced. Many people are keenly watching, waiting to know what will happen to the Premier of the province, Refilwe, who is the Premier here in the province. She was touted as someone who was going to contest for the position of the chairperson, but of course she did not contest for that position. She has been nominated to be part and to be a member of the Provincial Executive Committee of the ANC in Mpumalanga province.
Yeah, Siphamandla, thank you for that. And just reflections then on how the conference has gone. What have you been hearing from some of the deployed National Executive Committee members, such as Nomvula Mokonyane, who heads up the organizing department in the ANC?
Well, they are very happy that at least now the officials of the ANC in Mpumalanga have been elected. Remember, since 2015, Mpumalanga has not had a duly elected leadership structure in place. The last provincial conference elected David Mabuza in 2015 to be the chairperson of the ANC in Mpumalanga. In 2017, he left when he was elected the deputy president of the ANC in Nazareth. Since then, the province has been plagued by disunity, allegations of gatekeeping, factionalism, and the structures and branches of the ANC in Mpumalanga, some of them have been dysfunctional. It's something that ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa spoke about. Nomvula Mokonyane going at length there to basically deal with the issue of Mandla Msibi, the newly elected provincial treasurer here in Mpumalanga, who is facing murder charges. After being elected, he will be expected to voluntarily step aside as the provincial treasurer. If he does not, he will be suspended. Yes, in the past, he has stepped aside, but for his new responsibility, it's something that my colleague Lindo Busekulu is trying to pursue, to check whether he has written and submitted a letter of stepping aside as the provincial treasurer of the ANC, as per the guidelines of the ANC that advocate for any leader to step aside from any leadership responsibility once charged. So Nomvula Mokonyane explaining that they will find a way of dealing with that, but also the convener of ANC NEC deployees to Mpumalanga, Dr. Gwen Ramakgopa, as well as NEC member Nathi Mthethwa, taking to the podium to explain to delegates that yes, the issue of the provincial treasurer is a tricky one for now, but remember that there is nothing that says you cannot be nominated and elected if you are facing those charges. I remember when I interviewed the ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa in the Eastern Cape, Umtata, where he had said when he was addressing the extended PC meeting there that it's really shocking that some leaders of the ANC even attempt to contest when they are charged. I asked him whether he meant that those who are charged should not contest, whereas the resolution says once charged you must step aside. He said, well, that's the matter for the ANC to deal with. But yes, it is a matter that has been raised here sharply to say what will happen to the ANC in Mpumalanga that has a provincial treasurer who cannot undertake his political responsibilities because he has to step aside. But let me be quick to remind you and our viewers that it has has happened in KwaZulu-Natal, eMalahleni region in Newcastle. The regional chairperson, the Dr. Ntutuko Junda Mahlaba, was elected facing charges. After being elected as chairperson of the region, he had to step aside. So this is not the first case, and many people are saying next week in eThekwini, it will be interesting to see what will happen should Zandile Gumede decide to contest for the position of the regional chairperson in eThekwini, because she's facing fraud, or should I say she's facing corruption charges. So the issue of step aside will continue to haunt the ANC as it continues with its provincial and regional conferences.
All right, let's leave it there. That's eNCA's Siphamandla Goge out in Emalahleni in Mpumalanga, tracking the provincial ANC conference, which is underway in that town.